Hi, folks. I thought I'd talk a little bit more about when you have to adjust for the conditions. Conditions normally being the weather, the heat, the humidity, the wind. Sometimes all three are a combination of those. And you're either adjusting for your effort or you're adjusting for your performance. And they're pretty similar, but they're also a little bit different. So from a training aspect, when you're in a training run, we want to adjust for effort. And that's because in training, very rarely do we ever actually care about the pace. What we care about is the right effort for that workout, and pace is a way that we can normally get there, but it's not the pace that's important, it's the right effort. So you want to make that adjustment to make sure that the effort is right. So if we have a workout prescribed that's supposed to be an easy effort, meaning that you would be a conversation pace, able to talk without gasping for breath every few words, that's the effort that we want. And if we go too hard for the conditions, or we just go too hard in general, and when we're talking like this, we've changed that effort. And what's happened is we've changed the impact that we wanted to have in that training run. So it's important that we always adjust for the conditions so that we have the right effort for our training runs. Now, when we're talking about racing, though, we're talking about performance. And really, don't really care anymore about whether or not you're in the right zone to a certain extent. Obviously, you can run too fast, the effort can be too hard, your performance will be affected. But it's the performance that we're trying to manage, not what your effort will be. And in performance, better is okay. So while I don't want your effort to be too hard in training most of the time, if you're able to push it a little bit in a race and get away with it, then that's fine because we don't care about the training impact any longer. But you probably still need to make an adjustment in that race. And I'm going to talk about what I think most people tend to do wrong when looking at the conditions. And here's this example. Right now, let's forget about humidity and wind. There's some adjustments for those. Let's just talk about temperature. In general, if the humidity is nice and low, you have wind, cloudy day, you start adjusting for the temperature when you get above 70 degrees. Now, I find personally I need to adjust a little bit earlier than that. You may find 70 is not right for you. Everybody's a little bit different. But let's say you're going to be out there for 4 hours. And the forecast says, hey, 8 o'clock it's going to be 58 degrees. At 9 o'clock it's going to be 65 degrees. Then it's going to be 70 degrees. Then 11 to 12, we're talking about 75 degrees, which is about a 5-second adjustment. It's normally about 1 second for every degree above 70. What people will tend to do with this is say, well, I don't need to worry about making any type of adjustment until it gets to 11 o'clock and it gets warm, and they try and hold the pace that they planned from the very beginning. That's kind of a mistake. You really want to make that 5-second adjustment throughout the entire race because a lot of what you're trying to do is manage your body temperature. And so you're going to have a hotter body temperature when you hit that 11 o'clock, and then when you get to that 75, it tends to really spiral downhill. I see that happen a lot. It's happened in Chicago the last couple of years. I think it happened in Fox Valley this year. If for those watching this video in the future, I'm talking about 2015 and 16, where the weather starts relatively cool and people feel pretty good. And then they get to that warmer weather and they really crash because they didn't make the adjustment the entire time. Because it is way better to over-adjust and then get towards the end of the race and find out, you know what? I've adjusted a little bit too much. I've got a little bit more gas. I can keep going. So I'm here to tell you at the end of the race, if you're feeling the love and you can go a little bit faster, that certainly gets the adrenaline pumping. If you get to the end of the race and find out that you didn't adjust enough and you start slowing down, that is usually a spiral downwards. So in conclusion, we always need to make some type of an adjustment for the conditions when they aren't ideal for racing. In training, we adjust to get the right training effort. In racing, we're looking at performance, so go ahead and push the envelope a little bit, but make sure you adjust from the beginning of the race, not just the end.